Hello, everybody, and welcome to Celebrate Southern Africa. Now, today I'm talking a slightly different celebrate because it's not celebration, it is Celebraaition. And I'm talking to Juanita Bailey about her amazing annual event that she runs every year in the UK. And I love your hair.
Thank you, Dawn.
It's so lovely for you. I'm so thrilled to be talking to you because I've heard people in my community speak about your amazing event. So tell me about where the event is hosted and what it's all about.
Okay, so the event is hosted at the moment at Horsham Rugby Club in Horsham, obviously. Um, it started off as a very small event with me just wanting to gather fellow South Africans and also just to have all my family together would be a great occasion. And so I started off just doing that. And then it kind of grew from then. And I just love the fact that every year we meet more people who become part of our family, extended family of Celebraaition. And it's all about just celebrating everything in our culture, our friendships, our differences, our music, our food. And we have a lot of Zimbabwean and South African people, that come every year. Some of them have become very good friends during the course of the time, and a lot of the traders come every year as well. So they do become like my family, and it's the one thing I really look forward to every year is just seeing all of those people again.
I'm sure. So the name is so clever. How did you come up with that?
Well, it was all because I said, well, let's celebrate what we are, who we are, and the basic thing that we all identify with is a braai. So, celebration just made sense because we can celebrate braaiing together and doing all those amazing things that we do. And also, I mean, it's not just for South Africans, it's also for, local people because it teaches them something new. They learn about our food, they learn about our culture, our music, our art, our craft, and our personalities because a lot of us are married to Brits, and we've introduced them to our culture. And I actually encourage people to bring their British friends and their British family with because I think it's important for them to understand us. Sometimes they don't understand South Africans because we come across a little bit brusque or
Straight to the
them
point.
straight to the point. Yes, I'm trying to think of a nice way to
We
describe
don't
us.
we don't really waffle much. We tend to just I sometimes type an email and I go, dear whoever, and then I just answer the question. And then I think, oof, Dawn, you've got to tone that down a little bit. So
I
I
do
go
the
back
same.
to the beginning and I go, hi, how are you?
That's
Hope the
exactly
new
what I
year's
do. I
started
do. I go
well.
hi, blah, 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 and then I look at it and I say, anyway, let's go back and say, how are you? And did you have a good Christmas?
I know it's something that we've all had to adapt to, I think, because in South Africa, that's just how we are. And then here we
Yeah,
come across as quite rude. And yet people go to South Africa and they go, I'm so surprised. Everyone in South Africa is so friendly. And I'm like,
friendly.
well, we all
Yeah,
are.
yeah. And also the differences in our language, the things like robots and circles. And I remember when I first came over and I was working at the Kent Health Authority and we had a stationery cupboard and I was going to the stationery and I said, I'm going to the stationery cupboard. Would anybody like anything? And the woman said, oh, I'd like a couple of files. And I said, well, how many do you want? And she said, well, a couple. And I said, yeah, but how many? And she said, well, how many's in a couple? I said, oh, two. And then it made me think, when you say I'm having a couple of people around for a braai, you don't mean two people. You mean 2 to 20 people are coming around for a braai. So it made me very aware then. And also me saying, oh, my pants are too long. I need to put a hem in them. And I thought, what do you mean your pants are too long? What kind of pants are you wearing?
Do you find that when people come for your weekend event that they slip back into being more South African?
Yes, a lot of them do. And I think it's great because what we do is we try to cater for both languages. So we have some Afrikaans artists and we have some English, and it's great, and the music as well because we do something now. We do a silent disco at night, and then we have 3 channels, and we have one with proper old Afrikaans Boer music, one with pop music, and one with tech, which is great fun. And last year, in fact, I mean, the people that wanted the old South African Afrikaans songs in the silent disco, they just didn't want to go. You know, I think for them it's a good nostalgic moment, you know.
Well, music is also such a reminder. I mean, I was listening to some I don't know if you remember Modern Talking, the
Oh,
band.
yes, I do,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I found them on YouTube because I was trying to explain them to someone. And it was like a 20-minute mix track. And I just listened to Modern Talking for 20 minutes yesterday. I knew all the words. I still knew all the words.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
hadn't heard it for about 30 years or more.
I know, and it's funny how it just comes back to you, you know, when you hear a song, you think, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that in yonks. And it was good because when I was researching a playlist for us and you Google South African songs, there's a lot of new songs, which obviously I have no idea about. But then you'd get all these things that you hadn't heard for years, and you think, oh my word, and all these artists that you remember seeing.
Evoid and
Yeah, just you know, and the South African artists as well. You know, people like, I mean, I was never a big fan of South African music, but I think that was more a case of where I was brought up in a convent. I was in boarding school in a convent, so my exposure wasn't to a lot of Afrikaans music. But I do remember people like Sonia Harold and
Karika Kiesenkamp.
yeah, all of those, you know, and when I see them, I think, oh my gosh, yes, I did see my mom watching them on TV. I do know the words, even though I never listened to them. So yeah.
It plays a big role. So where did you grow up then, Juanita?
Well, I started off in Namibia. And then when my mom remarried, we moved to Gauteng. And then when I got married, I moved to Natal, first of all, and then to Cape Town when I got divorced. So I did the full circle. Full circle.
So where do you, when someone says, where are you from? Do you
Cape
just
Town.
Cape Town. Okay.
And I say Cape Town because I probably spent my best years in Cape Town, and that's where I left from, you know, to come here. Now, my husband actually is Welsh. So he'd gone to South Africa on a contract to work for Pick n Pay for a year. And then he ended up staying there for 18 years. And so, yeah, so when we came back, I mean, we had at one stage our own butchery and South African shop, and he used to make biltong and boerewors, and he actually took over one of Dewhurst's old butcheries that was a loss leader, and said, oh, can I take it over? Because we'd had so many South Africans coming in asking for boerewors and biltong. And it just, you know, the market for that is so huge. And it makes you realize how many of us are actually here.
Yeah, I think the official stats a few years ago were 350,000, but I think those are people who come in with a South African passport, maybe on a visa, and they are I would say close to 1 million, because there are people who come with British passports, Dutch passports, German passports. So I think we're close to 1 million if we think about people who were born and raised in South Africa. And that would be a very interesting stat, actually.
Yeah, no, it is. It's huge, you know. People don't realize how big the market is. I think, you know, my friends who I was at school with, my best friend, Melody, actually, we were at school together, and we've all ended up over here. But she obviously was, they were British. She had a British passport. My friend Debbie and Joanne, they all had British passports because they originally came from Zimbabwe and moved to South Africa, and then from South Africa to here. So I was the only one who didn't have a British passport out of my circle of friends. And it's funny that we've all ended up here and we're all still in contact 40 odd years later, you know, which is amazing. And
yeah, it is. And I think it's really lovely to maintain those friendships, because one of the things about moving somewhere when you're an adult is it's really difficult to form friendship circles. So where I live, I didn't work in the town, I was working away, and I also didn't have children at the school. And those are the instant communities. And so you have to settle in a way, but you need to, and it's important to connect with the local community, but actually just for your mental health and your emotional strength, you turn to even a strange South African, a stranger that you don't know, because they have something in common.
Yeah, that's right. You just feel that affinity with them.
So tell me what happened. Why did you just suddenly go, this is the event that I want to do? I know you wanted to bring your children together and your family together, but how did it come about that you decided it's going to be a weekend affair and it's going to include all these amazing things?
Right. So originally we used to cater at Glastonbury every year. In the days when we had the butchery and the shops and we did catering, we then were lucky enough to actually cater at Glastonbury on the kids' field, which again, it was the one time in a year when I saw all my children, because they would all be my little slaves and come and work Glastonbury. They probably hate my guts because I made them do this for many years. And then the last year we did it and we said, no, we're not going to do it anymore. It's not worth it anymore. Not worth the pain and the hassle and the money. And then I missed it. I missed having everybody together. So I thought, oh, well, why don't we have like a little South African thing, you know, and we can celebrate that. So again, all my kids would come. It's the time of the year because they live in Scotland and Birmingham and, you know, all around the country. So the one time of the year when the whole family is together is when we have the event. And when the 75 came the first year, the next year, everybody said, well, can we sleep over? And I thought, all right. So I got permission for a couple of tents, and there were probably about 20 tents of people that slept over. But then the premises we were on weren't big enough. So we started moving towards Horsham and offered camping first just for, you know, the 2 nights. Which actually brings me to the point that now there's exciting news, actually, because we've just decided that we are going to give everybody who's bought a camping or a camping ticket a freebie to come on the Thursday night and the option to stay on the Sunday night. So they'll actually have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night that they can stay over and not charge them any extra for it. So we managed to get permission for that. And yeah, and then it just grew. And then, of course, with COVID, I think last year we had an exceptionally high turnover because people had been locked away for 2020, 2021. And then finally we were let out of prison in 2022. And I think everyone was just happy to go out and party. So I'm not sure what's going to happen this year. I'm not sure if we're going to have those same 1,500 people coming back, or whether they've, you know, said, oh, okay, we've had our fun now, we don't need to do it. But it would be lovely if they all came back.
So tell me about the program. So how does the program all work?
Okay, so on the Friday, because most of the people are arriving traditionally on the Friday, there's not that much happening. We have live music, we have entertainment for the kids, you know, things they can jump on and play about with. We've got silent movies that they can go watch while the parents can faff around and do their thing. The Saturday is the main event day, really. So we have throughout the day a lot of musicians. We've got this year 2 live bands, 2 new bands, one called Third Wheel, who are 3 amazing South African guys that have recently moved to London. And then we also have, they called a Taste of Southern Africa, or a Taste of South Africa, which is a marimba band. And they do a lot of the old South African marimba, because we've got a fancy dress theme this year, which is Carnival Festival. So we tried to kind of match things up that way. Like when we had the Hillbilly Show, we had the country music on. And then we have traders, so many traders. We've got people selling everything that you can think of. Food-wise, you will not be short of any traditional food that you would love. Then we have a lot of crafts people. We have a lot of competitions. We've got a braai master competition on the Sunday. We have a Potjie competition on the Saturday, which last year, I must tell you, was something to work out how to judge, because we had 24 entries last year. So I had to make up teams of judges who would judge 3 or 4 Potjies and then put them on a short list, and then judge the next lot and put them on a short list for the final.
So what stands out in a good Potjie?
Well, we look for flavor, we look for flair, we look for presentation, we look for team spirit. But the most important thing, of course, is how your Potjie tastes. And it's very difficult to make that decision. So it's never left down to one person. We always go on a majority vote of who we think was the best. But I can tell you that all the Potjies are amazing. I mean, I I did struggle not to taste all 24 because that's what I really wanted to do. But I was only allowed to taste the final three. But then I did go around afterwards, and those I didn't taste, some of them I said, oh, can I have a little bit of yours just to have a taste?
I wonder if we could get Prue Leith from Bake Off to come and do the tasting. She
Wow,
would be
yes.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the potjies and the range of potjies, you know, everything. People do the traditional oxtail. Then there's other people that do pasta potjies. Who would have thought you could never do a pasta potjie? I would never. Yeah, all kinds of amazing things that I'd never heard of before. And I'm hoping this year, though, the one that we haven't had is a seafood potjie. And I'd love to have a seafood potjie because in Cape Town they were quite popular. I missed that. And then for the Braai Master competition this year, there are 3 categories. Oh, not 3 categories. They have to do 3 dishes, and the theme is around the braai in 80 ways. So they can do whatever they like, but they have to present a starter, a main, and a dessert option.
All done on the braai.
Yeah, all done on the braai. So it doesn't matter what it is. But again, we look at the same things. We look at taste, at team work together, at presentation.
And no hamburger patties like the British do.
No, none of those flat, no. You can give me a big juicy fat burger if you want.
Oh, I can't get over it that they do a hamburger patty. I'm like, you can do that in the kitchen. You don't need to do that on the braai. What a waste.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm lucky because my husband is a butcher for a start and lived in South Africa. I was always, when I married him, I said to him, we don't need all this meat because whenever we had a braai, he would bring home something for everyone. So if we were having 8 people, there'd be 8 lamb chops, 8 pork rashers, 8 chicken something, you know, we'd have like 7 pieces of meat per person. And I'd say, geez, we're never going to eat all this, but it did always go because we had kids, you know, kids just eat constantly. But yeah, he used to just bring home, I'd never been introduced to so much meat in one sitting. So yeah, it's great. And we've got some great suppliers at the event as well. We've got Braai Club, who not only sell their biltong and boerewors, but also food, and the same with Meat Feast and King of the Barbecue. He's got more of a Portuguese take on his food, so he does the prego rolls and the peri-peri chicken, those kind of things, but also does amazing boerewors and biltong, and I think he's brought out something called biltong pops, which I'm quite intrigued to try. I don't know what a biltong pop is. It sounds like a mixture between popcorn and biltong, but I'm not sure. So I'm waiting.
Although during the World Cup soccer tournament, they had biltong flavored popcorn and stuff during the. And that was, yeah, I remember that, and I was like, it was actually quite an odd taste, but it was fine. I mean, you know, anything biltong flavored, I'm happy to try.
Oh yeah, yeah, put it on anything. I'm the same. Only problem is when you get older, you have problems chewing it, so you have to get it sliced free. I used to like thick chunks. Now I want it like shaved.
Grated.
Yeah, grated.
To sprinkle on something.
Yeah.
So it's a big family event, of course. There's loads for the children to do. From what ages, and is it any age?
People come with newborns, you know, so we don't charge the kids up to 5. So any children up to 5 is free. Once you're on site, the majority of entertainment is free. So we've got bouncy castles, gladiator wars, twisters. We have a kids sports competition where they get their little trophies and things. So we do tug of war, sack races, egg and spoon, all the old traditional things.
Buddha sport.
All the Buddha sport, yeah. We have an entertainer that comes and entertains the children for 2.5 hours. We've got the silent movies that the kids can go and watch. We also have, before the adult silent disco, we have a silent disco for the kids a little bit earlier on so they can have fun doing their little dances. And then the fancy dress competition. So there's lots to keep them busy, you know. There's and all of that is free. There are a couple of things that might cost a bit extra, like if they wanted neon face paint for the silent disco, they're done by independent traders who, you know, will then do that. But the entertainment side of stuff is all free for the kids, and it's just, do you know, it is like a good old family get together. the kids all run around. We have swing ball for them to play, big beach balls. And it's just like people don't really have to worry. It's quite a safe environment. And everybody's kids are just free and outside and not playing games on a telly, or on a computer. And it just feels like you're at home in your back garden with your family, just having fun. And that's
And the program seems so full. Do you have an official program that people can get hold of?
Yes, at the moment we're busy working on the program because obviously we have to agree with all the artists, the timings and things. Oh, that's the other thing we have, I didn't mention, we have fireflyers, and they do an amazing trapeze act and a fire show in the evening, which is quite spectacular. So yes, the program will be posted online, and there will be sandwich boards and posters up everywhere on the day for people to see what's happening in which area and where they can go.
So it's like a mini Glastonbury, but for South Africans.
Yes, yes. Actually, a few years ago, somebody said to me after we'd had the first glamping weekend, and somebody said, "Oh, you should call it Safaberry," because it was like a mini Glastonbury. They said, "Oh, you should call it Safaberry," which, when we took the photos, it did look very Glastonbury-esque. And our glamps this year are absolutely amazing. We're running a competition, actually a raffle, that costs you £10 a ticket for a super deluxe, so like a honeymoon suite glamp, which is worth probably about £350. So, the deadline, I think, with the draw is on the 31st of March. So if you wanted the chance of getting this really luxurious glamp, which is more luxurious than mine because I'm in the basic glamp, then £10 is well worth the money to spend just to, try and get it, because I'm not allowed to buy a £10 ticket. But it is amazing. And the rest of the glamps, last year we had a bit of a disappointment. The company that did the glamp for us really let us down, and I was mortified and terribly embarrassed at the standard that they had provided us with, and I think it's because we had already paid them in full 2 years before. And so when they did it for us last year, they thought, oh, well, we're not being paid for this job, so we don't care. That's what it looked like to me. So I spent the entire day apologizing to every person that came in. And so this year I wanted to make sure that we made up for that, and I made sure we've gone really good and giving them something, because it's a lot of money to spend if you're coming for a weekend. And I mean, even though it's cheap, it is a lot of money in today's time. So if there's two of you coming and it costs you £320, you want something nice for your money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah,
so
it
sounds like you are juggling 1,000 balls. And do you have a team that help you?
I don't really have a team. Through the process of doing Celebraaition, I have met an amazing lady called Karen Huckle-Jones. She has become my go-to person, actually, because normally it's just me. I did everything. And now, Karen has become so involved with, she lives in Devon, so she's nowhere near me. But every now and then, when I said to you, oh, can Karen speak to you? It's only because I'm camera shy. But she's my go-to person now. And I'll say, oh, Karen, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Especially on times like when I was in South Africa, when my mom passed away, or when my husband was busy with his chemo and cancer stuff, and I have the grandkids and I don't have time, and I'll call on Karen. And she's been amazing. So big shout out to Karen. She is like literally my right hand when it's cut off. And that's it. That is it. On the day, of course, I do still, my kids are saying, Mom, I'm not doing this. Why are you doing this again? You're never doing this again. But on the day, they all do actually step up and help, especially my oldest daughter, Tamaris, is amazing. Even at Glastonbury, she's the boss. Because I'm the nice one that says, guys, please, can you make sure that you put all the stuff in the bin? And Tammy will come out and say, why is that stuff lying there? Get it in the bin. So
we all need someone like that in our families.
Yeah, we all quiver in our boots when Tammy speaks. So, on
the day the family pull together, but it just seems like you've got it all sorted, and it just seems like a smooth running event that I know people that I've spoken to have absolutely loved it when they've been. So how can people find out about the weekend, and where's the best place to find all the information, and when that is made public, etc.?
Okay, so we have the page. We have a group page that runs all year. Just look up Celebraaition on Facebook. And
So is that's a group. Okay, so people join the group. Okay.
Group, yeah. And all the information really gets posted on there. I've been trying to work on a website like for nearly a year now, but I haven't actually finalized it because I just never get enough time to do everything I want to do on it. There will probably be a website next year because my friend's daughter has said that she'll help me with it because she does that for a living. So again, you see, everything in this is nearly done voluntarily by people, which I must commend everyone. I mean, it's not a money-making racket. None of us make money. We all do it because we're mad. And we raise funds for 2 charities as well. So even on Facebook group, on Celebraaition, we post everything. We post who we support with our charities. We post the dates, the updates, the competitions, the link for tickets. Everything goes onto the Facebook page. And we do try and share it as much as possible. I did set up an Instagram page, but I have no idea how to run it. So there's nothing on there. It would be pointless going there. So,
and Juanita, so the email address that people can get in touch with you?
Celebraaition@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll pop that in the details of it as well. So what is the plan for this year that's different from next year, just before we end off?
The plan this year is that we've got live bands, which before we've traditionally just had kind of one man, you know, the one man guys, the guys that are well known throughout, I think, like Mike Stewart and Jamie Hilton and those guys that are kind of one man bands. So we've got the bands in this year. We've got the marimba band, which everyone seems to be really excited about, more excited than anything else. Usually we have the South African dancers, but we decided that we'd give it a break because, you know, you want to change things up a little bit every year. We've got exciting new traders that haven't been there before, so there's new things for you to see. We've got the silent movies, which we haven't had before. We also have the adult tug-of-war competition, which I can tell you is a very competitive thing. They're very competitive. We do teams of 8. You just need to enter your teams of 8 and you could win your trophy. What else are we doing? There's just so much. Yeah, we've got more of the inflatable things for the kids. Before, you know, we used to just have a jumpy castle, so we've increased that and made that a bit more. And yeah, and the 2 days extra that you're going to get for free if you're coming for the weekend.
Fantastic. So what are the dates?
So the official dates are the 7th to the 9th, of course, of July. And of course, then if you wanted to come on Thursday afternoon when your glamp is already set up or you want to come set up your camp, you're welcome to. And for those, especially because we're having the Braai Master competition on the Sunday, you know, people might want to have a drink or 2 and they might not want to go home. So they're welcome to sleep over on Sunday night and leave on Monday morning. So that's
fantastic. Well, I am so thrilled. So tell everybody we need to spread the news.
Yes,
the 7th of July. For that weekend, please get that in your diary and get in touch with Juanita. Find out about the Facebook group. So join that for all the updates, and I'll pop all the details in the link. So thank you so much for joining us and for flying the flag for our community and spreading the word about our culture and just bringing people together, because community is what brings us together, and there's strength in community.
Absolutely.
And that's how we grew up, you know. That's
you know, my husband couldn't understand the other day because he said about people kissing on the cheeks. I said, oh, you know, I never knew that concept until we moved here. He said, what, even strangers? I said, yeah, if you meet them, you just give them a kiss. It's a normal thing to do, isn't it? Yeah. Right? Probably get locked up.
But yeah, I was just going to say, if you do that today, call the cops. I've been kissed on the lips by a stranger.
Yeah. Oh my God, how inappropriate. Even David Beckham can't kiss his daughter on the lips.
It's hilarious. But thank you so much for joining me on Celebrate Southern Africa, and best of luck. I know it's going to be a wonderful event, and I look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and for having a chat with me.
No problem.